Knock knock.
Who's there?
Jenna.
Hey, Jenna, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's great having you on the podcast.
Oh, it's great to be here.
I feel like I haven't seen you for a very long time. Actually, I feel like we were just saying as well, like before we started recording, I feel like I
Yep.
haven't seen anyone actually
True.
for a very long time. So it's great to see your face. And those of you who are listening, we also have this recording on Zoom as well. So if you actually want to see what we all look like, then you could head over to YouTube and you can check it out there. But
Hi, if you're watching.
oh, and Gareth's here too.
I'm saying hi
He's
to
there
everyone
too.
watching.
Hi to everyone
Waving me.
watching. Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, so thanks so much for joining us. So I want to start off just by letting everyone know kind of how I know you and how we came about, organizing our conversation today. So
Hmm.
we worked together for quite some time. Hey Jenna,
Yeah.
we were in management positions for a large
Hmm.
fitness chain, on a regional basis, and I remember kind of coming together at big meetings and
Yeah, the good old days.
yeah, like brainstorming and
Yeah.
just coming up with fun new ways to, I guess, invigorate group fitness,
Hmm.
and how group fitness can be bigger and better. So I know you from that kind of, I guess, corporate world, management world, and also, of course, teaching classes along the
Right.
way and everything else. So
Yes. My
that's where our
passion.
kind of connection is, and obviously I'll let you introduce yourself in a minute, but I know that you're still very active in group fitness, in
Hmm.
presenting and teaching in that world, but you also have your own business, which is about eating psychology and mind body
Hmm.
coaching and wellness. So really interested in to get into that as well as your influence in the fitness industry. So why don't we start with just learning a little bit more about Jenna, and then we'll get into all of that stuff a little bit later.
Sure. Well, I actually grew up dancing at the age of 4. So I danced professionally till I was about 22. And, I started teaching group fitness. My mom suggested I get another part time job as a teenager. And I started teaching when I was just 15. They
Oh
kind of allowed
wow,
me to sneak in before. So I've been teaching for 32 years. So when
amazing.
people say, "Oh, you started when you were like," oh yeah, I started when I was like 4. um, yeah. And you know what? It's still an opportunity to get on stage, and when you grow up performing, you still have that level of feeling like you're still engaging participants and whatnot. But now it's in a smaller focused groups, and teaching group fitness has been a passion for many years. And I honestly, I think in some ways it just like mentally and emotionally, it for my own well-being saved my life in many many times throughout my life. And to be able to still share that passion with other people is such a joy. And I think that's why I keep doing it, because you know it's um it's one of those things. You're connecting with people, and it's like-minded people and people who are reaching goals together. So I'm so grateful to still physically be able to do it, and to be able to have the opportunity through different chains and fitness, and being able to inspire and hopefully motivate people, but also let them know that you know it's not a one size fits all. Everybody can move, and movement is the most important thing. And if I can help inspire anybody just to get up and start moving, then I feel like I've done my job. So that's the fitness aspect of it, where I started my love of fitness. But it just went into wellness as well. I grew up in my 20s and whatnot with a lot of digestive issues and a lot of stomach and poor gut health. I had GERD, reflux, as also known, and um, learned I was gluten intolerant. And I went through just a series of, in my 20s, of just really dealing with poor digestion. And that really sparked my interest in learning more about health and wellness and food, and the right way to do things. Because as you know, our participants are always asking us these questions.
Mm-hmm.
And then all these diet fads come in, and you're in the fitness industry, and everybody's asking you, well, which one works? Does this one work? Does that one work? And what have you tried? And it's just so much that's out there. It's no wonder why so many people are confused.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it really, yeah. And I always knew at a very young age that I wanted to help people one-on-one. And I didn't know what that really looked like, but I always saw myself sitting with somebody and engaging with them and being fully present and helping them one-on-one. I love the group, but I really love, I think my favorite is that one-on-one. Though personal training wasn't it though. So I didn't know what it was at the time. And I knew I was looking for some sort of coaching, and I was doing research on, wellness and coaching. And then all of a sudden I saw eating psychology pop up. And I actually minored in psychology in university. I kind of wish I would have reversed it now, but can't go back. But I have this love for psychology, for children's psychology, and just the way people think and how it's tied to our emotions. So when I saw eating psychology, I was like, wow, there's something to this. And there's a lot of underlying reasons why people have these vicious cycles of dieting and not feeling successful, and or emotional eating, or any underlying eating issue that people have kind of wondered, is this normal, and why am I struggling with this? Sometimes it's not about what you're eating. Sometimes it's not about the level of exercise that you're doing. Sometimes it really stems from a deeper root. And that's what I do, is help people peel away the layers to try and figure out what it is that they're struggling with. Now, I'm not talking about people that are in the thick of eating disorders. That's where a professional can help them. I'm there to help people that this has been habitual and it's been patterns, and people looking to live a healthier lifestyle, but yet perhaps also work on mind, body, and body awareness, poor body image. Why is it that number on the scale is so important? Where does that come from? It comes from somewhere, just not a number, right? Yeah. So what is the reason for that? And I find when people can really dig a little deeper and search those things, the number doesn't maybe become so important anymore, because now there's the understanding and the reason for where it's stemming from. So if I can help people discover those things and discover to be happy in the body that they're in, and use our body as a vessel to help us do our daily activities and to lead a better lifestyle in one way or another, then that's where I get my gratitude in being able to play a part in that.
Wow, that's truly amazing. There was so much in there that I resonated with, and I'm sure that every single person listening, right, can resonate at some point. I think we've all had healthy and unhealthy relationships around food. Yep. At various stages through our lives, irrespective if you're male or female. Like I honestly believe that, due to lack of education, and then false information, and then the media, and and just sheer peer pressure and things like this, I think we all adopt at some point an unhealthy relationship with food or body image. Right. So thank you for sharing that with us, Jenna, and thank you also as around just bringing a little bit more insight into exactly what eating psychology is, because that was going to be one of my questions for you, is okay, break that down, help us understand it a little bit more. Is it for people that perhaps are unwell because of their relationship for food, with food, or is it actually for everybody? And I think the answer that I just heard, and excuse me if I'm wrong, is actually for everybody.
Right. You are right about that, because like you said, at one point in our lives, we've all thought about food and thought about body image, and contemplated, and even if you don't have an actual eating issue, we'll call it, there's just some people that don't know where to start when it comes to eating healthy and tying that into the relationship with your body and movement, and kind of understanding how it's all pieced together. So it really could be for the habitual dieter who just, there's this vicious cycle, and they're wondering, why do I never lose weight? What's going on with that? And they start to think, there's got to be something more. It can't be just because I've tried this, I've tried that, and I tried that, and I'm doing all the right things. So it could be for those people that there's that underlying issue really is more on the psychology side of things. Because something simple that I'll give you an example how eating psychology can relate to dieting, which I don't even really like to label it as, but for example, when fight or flight, right? You've probably heard fight or flight. And this is when like the lion is chasing us or the bear is chasing us and we need to go. And so what happens is your digestive system shuts down so that you have quick thinking and quick limbs to get the heck out of there. That's a great thing. Your cortisol level rises, and we all need that for those times. But that's not something that we want every day. And when people are living with, you know, day-to-day stresses, I mean, we have stresses coming from all angles. That's a part of life. But when people are fixated on something and they're holding so strongly to, let's say, a diet or losing weight or to something, it kind of can work against you because now you have this low-grade level of stress every single day, which means your digestive system is shut down and your cortisol levels have risen up because you're constantly in fight or flight, which is not what we want. We don't want our digestive system to shut down on a good day, or if you are trying to achieve a goal. So this is the eating psychology of things. And there's been many situations where when people really peel away the layers and they realize where all of these thoughts and body image and dieting issues come from, that when they let go of those things or start to come to at peace of where they are, without even drastically changing how they eat or their exercise, have finally let go of some of the weight because the stress is no longer there, or the level of stress is there, because the digestive system starts to function again. And it's like, oh, I remember what to do. I'm not so confused anymore. So that's kind of how eating psychology can work, is that you don't even realize how stress can play a big part. So you've got all these people that are just killing themselves trying to eat the right way, following this diet and that diet, and they're over exercising sometimes and wondering why nothing's working. So eating psychology sometimes is a much deeper level of why things aren't working. So when we can get to those understandings of what might be going on without us or within us, that helps. And sometimes it stems all the way back from childhood. You know, the way that we grow up looking at our parents, right? Young kids watching mom have a diet, dad on a diet, right? Or just eating behaviors and how you grew up, or food becoming a comfort for you, because when moms and dads need to get their kids to do something, I'll give you a candy. I'll give you this.
Whoops,
I'll
yes.
give you that. Bribery, right? We all have those. And so sometimes at a very young age, little do we know, it's like food's a reward. Like, ooh, I earned this today, so I get to have that chocolate cake. Maybe I'll have 4 or 5 pieces. And it becomes sort of that emotional comfort. All of this stuff can stem from a very young age at no fault from anyone.
Yeah, that's so true and will resonate with so many people. And it actually leads to a bit of a question that I have, in that, so we know, obviously we heard that, you know, we get a lot of that stuff from our upbringing and what's imprinted on us, which is true of so many things, not just, you know, our eating psychology, but many things in life. What it makes me think about, and this will be, you know, impactful for a lot of people listening, you know, our market and, you know, a lot of our member base are parents and they have kids. So they're going to be like, their ears are going to be pricking up right now. It's like, oh, how do I make sure I influence my kids? So I think we need to do a good job of that, which we'll get to. But my first question is, what does the education look like, in your opinion, at, you know, we have a kindergarten aged kid and lots of people listening will have kids in, you know, lower grades of school, etc. What kind of education are they getting around eating psychology, and does that need to improve? I feel like I know the answer to this, but I'm going to let you answer it.
I think, you know, parents do the best they can. They're busy. They often both have full-time schedules, full-time jobs. Single parents doing the best that they can. It's challenging, and I have to say, it also starts with us as being a role model, because our kids are looking at us to what we're doing. And so often parents might deliver, well, you should do this, but then they're looking at us, well, like, how come you're not? And you can't say, well, because I'm the parent or because I'm the adult. That just doesn't fly. That they get to a certain age where they're like, whatever. So, modeling and showing them what, balanced meals are, or busy moms, I can say, just because there are a lot of moms that are at home with their kids, not eating, too busy to eat, forgetting to eat, right? I have to say I'm guilty of that too, right? Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't eaten since like, I don't know what time. It's important. We all can do better, just to role model for our children, for one. I think that's important. And to also at a young age, explain to them the differences, with kids who are they're introduced to sugars, and that's pretty much, that they want the treats and they want the rewards and they want those things. But, what is a balanced meal, and what does your plate look like? Kids are very visual. They don't always understand these things. So if we can talk about color on the plate, and let's find some colors that you can eat today for young children and things like that, and make it sort of fun for kids to learn about eating balanced meals. And then, tying it in with, it's okay to have treats. It's okay to have snacks. We need to let kids know that even though we as adults might be conscientious of what we're eating, we need to let them know that that's not bad versus good, because this is what starts to be ingrained in their mind. So it's great to let kids know dessert's good, but we need to have the good stuff and the healthy stuff and a balanced meal before we can get to the fun stuff as well. So I think modeling and just doing our best to be good role models for our kids is a good start.
Yeah, that's so true. And I was giggling over here to myself because it makes me think about the conversations we have at the dinner table here. And we talk about those things. And I was sitting there thinking, I hope I wasn't saying the wrong thing. But apparently I've been saying the right thing.
Yes. I did the same thing. Like, oh.
But it makes me laugh, and it can be a fun opportunity. And as we found out that we talk about balanced foods, and we always hear the carbohydrates, not the carbohydrates. So that's a great laugh in our house. We have carbohydrates.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a good way to have some fun, and we can be playful around those things. So yeah, so important that we do that role modeling. And I love that idea of giving them the colors and giving them that kind of that motivation, right? Something for them, because they're very goal driven as kids, and they want to succeed at something. So if they can, that's fine. Let them be involved. This is another thing I think is great as well, is that let them be involved in helping prepare, right? Have a pizza making party, and have they can chop vegetables, whatever it is that, depending on their age, obviously, and how that is to do. But yeah, that's so important. So outside of that, when we're role models, I think that there's going to be situations where, like you mentioned, there's maybe a single parent, maybe it's someone that travels a lot, maybe their kids are in, a lot like after school, before school.
Yeah.
What do you think the education is? Maybe it's school, maybe it's, any kind of childcare, or what does it look like? Is it happening? And I don't really know, because, a junior kindergarten age kid that's a few months in, what does it look like in the school system right now in your experience?
I mean, I know when my son was in JK and SK, he came home with learning about broccoli and these types of things. And they talked about, which are match the foods that are not the healthy foods and whatnot. So is ice cream healthy? Is this, is that? So they kind of get that basic of knowledge. And I don't really think that young kids get into that until they actually have a health class. So I do feel like there's a little bit of a gap. I mean, there's a lot of other subjects that they have to learn, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I find it challenging as a parent. There's so many restrictions in what you can send your kids to school with these days as well, right? There's a real lack of proteins that can go to school. No nuts, no eggs. So it's challenging. So parents are like, what the heck do I send to my kids? They can't eat cold cuts every day. So it's a real struggle, I think, for some parents to realize, because I noticed when my son would come home, this was last year, he was just miserable and moody and could cry over nothing. And I'm like, what the heck? He didn't have enough protein in the day, right? He didn't get that balance of what he needed to be satiated, when it affected his mood. And I don't send, candies and a lot of sugary snacks. I try and send as much of a balanced meal within our limitations. I mean, you have to look at all the labels. You can't even send hummus, because We have kids that have seed allergies even. So you have to be creative. And that's a challenge for parents right there when you're trying to teach your kids to eat a balanced meal and you can't send half of what you want to school, right? I mean, I've had to be really creative and coming up with things that my son can have. I mean, he loves spanakopita, which is like, the phyllo pastry with the spinach and the feta.
Yes.
I cook it at night. I heat it up, put it in metal so it stays hot. And I'm like, here you go. And he will eat the whole thing. He loves it. So I've really had to be creative of what I can come up with. And especially for parents that have kids that are dairy free. Well, that eliminates a whole like category right there. So that's another passion of mine, is coming up with things that parents can give to kids that do have food restrictions. So there's that challenge. We're trying to teach them, but yet a lot of those things, we're not there to see what's happening all the time. So this is why when they are at home, you can ask them what they've learned in school, but when they're little, they're like, I don't know, I don't remember. It's not important. I went out for recess. It's my favorite subject. So teaching them at home about as much as we can. I mean, we are teachers in itself, and that's an important role that we play. And also, I've also learned that sometimes we just have to pick our battles and let go a little bit. My son is 6, so I mean, he can chew his food and whatnot, but I still cut up the chicken really small and whatnot. And he just was having nothing to do with it. And he saw my whole chicken thigh on my plate. He said, I want it whole. And I'm like, what, why? Like, I don't want you to chew. And I'm like, all right, here you go. Here it is. Chicken on a fork. Have at it. And he sat there and he ate off the fork, and then avocado. He wanted to eat the avocado out of the skin. Here's a spoon. There you go. I thought, you know what? Like, why does it matter how he eats it? The kid's asking for an avocado. Really? Could it be worse? Yeah, it could. So, it's to pick your battles as well. We get so regimented in how we need to do things because this is how I do it. With kids, they want to know that they're the boss sometimes, right? And that they just can do something. So here you go. You want to eat a whole chicken thigh, go for it.
Oh my goodness. That's
gotta let go sometimes.
Those are just little gems, and I'm sure people that have children or are around children have just had a whole like aha light bulb moment, which is really great because that is stressful and a challenge within itself. Let alone feeding yourself, you're now responsible for feeding other humans. And that can be a challenge and a lot of responsibility. So thank you for those little pearls of wisdom and gems around kids. I actually want to go back a few conversations, and you spoke about being so busy in your day as an adult, as a parent, just as, again, a human being, that you just forget to eat, or we have these long chunks of time where we choose work perhaps over food, or chores over food, and before you know it, you've gone all day pretty much on a banana, and then by 5 p.m. you want to eat your entire fridge.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think we can all relate to that. Yeah. So, I mean, what kind of, I guess, hints, helpful tips can you kind of come up with, like, right now that can get people perhaps out of that habit, or at least thinking about it, and getting eating, I guess, just getting eating. Let's just say that.
Yeah, just get eating. Yeah. You know what? I hate to say it, but it really is about preparation. Okay. And as busy adults or busy parents will start with or making their kids lunches, right? For young children who still can't do it themselves. We spend the time doing that. Are we making our own lunches? Probably not. Some people are great at it. Or if you're busy in your day and you're flying out first thing in the morning, it really is about preparation. And sometimes some people don't feel creative enough to know what they can do. And it's really great to look at resources that are out there for meal prep or ideas to find foods that you like. Overnight oats is such a big thing right now. And they're actually like, there's companies that actually sell it, and you'll probably pay a lot for it when you could just probably take 10 minutes to do it yourself at home. It really is just a matter of being a little creative. And if you're not creative, is just look it up and look for resources of meal prep and ideas that you can come up with, and take that time and know that you're worth it and that your health is worth it, to spend that extra 10-15 minutes at night to prepare your snacks, prepare your healthy meals, cut everything up. What I like to do is when I'm cooking dinner or at the cleanup time, that's when I'll typically make my son's lunch, and I'll prepare other things for my husband or anybody who wants to grab things out of the fridge. So I might do those overnight oats, or I might get the mason jars and make the salads that all you have to do is shake and they're ready to go. Those are the things that we have to just think about our day at nighttime, is planning ahead. So what's my day like tomorrow? What's it going to be like? If I don't have time in the morning, what can I do at night? What's within my reach that is tangible, where I won't be up for 2-3 hours a night preparing? So if you're not creative to come up with those things yourself, then resource it. Meal prep ideas, quick on the go. If that means a nutritional protein bar, something in your car, a Lara bar, something like those easy, quick things that you can get at the supermarket. Do we want to live on them? No. But is it important to fuel yourself with energy to keep yourself going through the day? Then it is a good idea. I like to actually just keep like nuts in my car, just in the Tupperware for emergencies. So when I'm driving and the day didn't go as planned, instead of pulling through a fast food place when I'm on my way home or something, I just reach into my thing and have a handful of raw almonds and I'm good, right? So it's just about planning ahead. And for the parents or the adults that have, and I hate to call them excuses, but there's always a reason for not being able to do something, but I'm busy, but you know what? You're worth it. Your health is worth it. And you're worth treating your body the way you would want to treat your best friend, right? So that's the sort of the mindset that I think a lot of people have to get into, is it's okay to put yourself first. And if you don't feel like you can put yourself first, you deserve to be taken care of.
Yes, I love that last sentiment so much. And I think that's where a lot of, and I don't know if you've experienced this, Jenna, but I think that's where a lot of people fall down when it comes to nutrition and exercise. Is they tend to put other people first, or other jobs, let's just say, first, and then they lose sense of me time. And then, that doesn't serve you very well if you haven't moved, if you haven't eaten, apart from giving yourself the bare necessity of, oxygen.
Right. And the funny thing too is that we'll all be more productive. Everybody, like you said, that me time. Everybody needs those moments to just kind of refocus and unload and go back to the things that maybe we're stumped on for the day, because now we've had that mental break. And to have time for your kids or energy for your kids, you have to do it for yourself first. It's like the whole, you're on a flight and you got to save yourself before you can save somebody else. You got to put on the oxygen before you can actually save somebody else, right? If you're sinking, we're just going to pull people down with us. So to be our best selves, we have to take care of ourselves. And that means the me time, like you said. That means squeezing in exercise. And like you said, the whole exercise part of it. There's people that want to get moving, and there's this sort of thought in some people's mind, well, I don't have an hour. So if I don't have an hour, it's not worth it at all. 10 minutes. I'll be fully dressed sometimes and I'm going to go do some burpees. Like 10 minutes. It doesn't matter. Who needs to be in a cute little outfit to exercise? Who cares? Wear your jogging pants. It doesn't matter. Do some push-ups. 10 minutes, really, just to get your heart rate going. I have a quote that I love from somebody that in the fitness industry. And one of my favorite quotes that I've held on to, she's probably said it maybe like 24 years ago, is some is better than none and more is better than some. Some is better than none. And then more is better than some. But you got to get started, right? So it's this whole buildup of, I don't have an hour to go to the gym, and I don't have to just get up and just get moving, just get the heart rate going. Parents and adults need that time for themselves as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
so true. If only we knew someone that had an incredible app with some short workouts and a full scale. Oh, we do.
wait,
Oh,
what?
wonderful.
Oh,
Just head over
there
to the
you
show
go.
notes where you'll find the link to get your 7-day trial. Um, yeah, it's so true. You know what it makes me think of when you were talking there, Jenna, was that we have to prioritize, we have to be
Yeah.
prepared, we have to schedule because
Mhm.
there are too many of us busy being busy. And I'm doing
Busy
like
being
funny air
busy.
quotes,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, that's a
Like,
good
oh,
one.
I'm busy, but are you? But busy doing what? Like, everyone's busy. Everyone's got their things on their
Everyone's
plate,
busy.
right?
Yep.
And we've all got, and I kind of, I have a love-hate relationship with the quote of, everyone has the same 24 hours, blah, 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 blah. I have a
Uh,
love-hate with that because it kind of suggests that, anyway, I don't love the quote,
yep.
but what I think is if we are prioritizing. So
Yes.
let's have a look at what's important and
Mhm.
how we have to give ourselves the same love and care and respect
Yes.
that we give our kids. So for,
Yeah.
we were touching on kids, is that like you're not going to sit, you're going to go, oh, well, I didn't prep lunch for my kids. So, here's
Good luck.
here's a bag of chips. Off you go to
Yes.
school. Like no one, well, I hope no one listening is going to do that with their kids. You're going to
Yeah.
say, all right, this is a priority. I'll do it before bed. I'll do it. So
Right.
show yourself the same love and respect
Yes.
by doing that, by prepping, by fitting that
Yes.
workout in. And yes, you might need to do it around your kid's schedule if you have kids, or your partner or whatever is in your life. Your fur kids, whatever
Mhm.
is. But you still got to prioritize yourself somewhere. You may have to be creative with when you do it, but you still need to do
Absolutely.
that. So important.
And sometimes really it is making it a priority. And then for some people, it's not even just a priority, it's deeper than that. It's them not feeling worthy that they actually deserve the love and attention that they should give themselves. So that's a whole other
Yes.
eating psychology of things, is not just making it a priority, but realizing like you're important too. And it's okay to take time out for yourself, right? And believing that you can give to everybody else during the day as much as you want, but some people feel guilty just stopping to do something for themselves. Maybe it's the mom or the dad guilt, or I should be working guilt. I shouldn't be doing this for myself. I've got people relying on me. So there's that underlying guilt that if I do this instead of that, that's part of it as well. So when I say it's making it a priority, but it's also making a decision that you are worth it. And that if you want to be your best self for all those other people that you're helping, you need to take care of yourself as well.
Agreed. So, Jenna, to anybody that's listening or watching us on YouTube, tell us how they can find out more about what you do, about your business, how they can get in touch with you.
Sure. Well, they can go to my website, which is www.longlifewellness.ca. And I have a Facebook page as well under Long Life Wellness. And they can check out on my website and read a little more in detail as to what the methodology of eating psychology is. And, my page really talks about eating psychology, but I actually help a lot of people who are even just looking to live a healthier lifestyle and just don't know where to start.
Yes.
And where to begin. I do 20-minute consultations or discovery sessions so we can see also if it's a good fit for them, to see if I am able to help them, and this way I can see what it is and what direction they need to go in and recommend what the best route for them is as well.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much for that. And I'm sure some people will reach out, even like you said, just to be curious, right? Like, am I on the right track? Am I doing the right messaging? Am I looking after myself properly? And then, from there, I guess, like you said, maybe it leads into coaching. And, and this is my number one thing, whether it's coaching for food or coaching for exercise, that investment in yourself is never wasted, because that education that you learn is going to be with you for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. And it'll help you pass it on to your kids, right? To your family members and anybody else who may be struggling with the same things that you've struggled with. And I think that's why I love doing this so much, is because having dealt with all of my digestive issues and whatnot, if I can now help somebody heal their gut health and just improve how they're feeling, that makes everything rewarding. And I think people get very stuck in just accepting feeling yucky every day. People that are feeling blah, or just, we just get stuck in that cycle, and realizing that it doesn't have to be that way. If you just reach out and you just ask for help and ask for direction, things really can improve in one way or another. But you got to reach out first. Got to ask for help.
There's the message right there. Ask for help. How many of us need to do that more?
Yes.
It's so true. And I think as well, a great kind of point on that as well, because I think for a lot of people listening will probably their heads will be spinning a little bit right now. Mine is. About, because there's so much information, we get paralyzed because of the amount of information. And we talk about this a lot. And obviously it's lending to, no, we're transparent here at the podcast, but it's full transparency. We are coaching people. So yes, we want people to invest in coaching 100%, yourself, Jenna, us, with the Nock Academy and everything else. But here's where coaching for me stands out apart from many other things, especially in the world of health and fitness, is there is so much information and there's so many myths that surround everything. And coaching, if it does nothing else for you, will dispel those myths around nutrition, around exercise, and it will get you on track and keep you kind of in the lane of truth and fact, which is where, if we all channeled that within the world of health and fitness, we'd be, in my opinion, a lot more successful as an industry. So, definitely reach out, like Nikki mentioned, because we are here to help you in any capacity that we can, ourselves and obviously our amazing guests. So,
yes. Absolutely. And, again, it's a lot of people, like you said, with all these myths and everything, are just it's contradicting information and whatnot. Everybody feels like not everyone, but many people feel like they have to do these full blown programs and extensive baby steps. Really, improvements can be made with making simple changes. Just simple. It doesn't have to be this grand, rehaul of your life. That's great for the people that are ready to dig in and do that. But really, the small, simple tips that you can give to your academy and I can give to my customers and clients and whatnot it's those small things really can make a big difference. It just doesn't have to be, like I said, 10 minutes of exercise versus an hour. Those 10 minutes really add up and they can make a difference in your day. And it's the same thing with anything in life. Like I said, some is better than none.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And I think you're right. It all just starts with a really good conversation, right? Being vulnerable enough and open enough to say, hey, I don't know anything about this, or I know a little bit. Yeah. Can you help me out and steer me in the right track? And I think that's true for actually anything in life, to be quite honest.
For sure.
As well as what we're talking about, which is, lifestyle, nutrition and exercise. So we're here. So reach out to Jenna if you're curious. Have that 20-minute consultation. We're here obviously from a fitness perspective. Go ahead, try it out, see if you like it. But I think it's okay to be curious, and I would love for people to have curious as part of their vocabulary a little bit more. Right? Curious over being anxious, perhaps, and just, giving it a try and seeing what could potentially happen.
Yeah. I love that.
And people tend to think that curious means commitment.
Yeah.
Curious just means listening and finding out and listening. You know what I mean? Like, it's really just curiosity. It's like an investigation, but it doesn't mean that at that moment that you're expected to do anything with it. It's like planting a seed. Sometimes you hear something enough and then it starts to sink in at the right time. So, people might pass by your academy or look through things and they're seeing those things and they're maybe just not quite there, but they'll remember it. And they're like, you know what, that's doable. I can do that. So curiosity is so important, like you said, but it doesn't have to mean that the commitment has to, and people put a lot of the pressure on themselves for this big commitment that they think they're making out of curiosity.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so true.
Absolutely. I'd love to I'd love to hear, before we kind of wrap up for the show, we're kind of getting close to time. I'd love, and this is going to totally put you on the spot, Jenna, but
Okay.
what would be your, if you had to pick one number one top tip around, let's say, eating psychology, what would be that number one tip, that one thing, plant that seed with everyone, or one thing that they could take away from listening to the show today and kind of implement right now?
Mm-hmm. So for anyone, I guess, that's looking to make a change, a small change, right? And I'm going to start, I can dive right into the food part of it, but from the eating psychology side of it is, again, to not just tell yourself, but really believe that you are worth it. You're worth making those changes. We're here one time in this life, and you always ask yourself, what am I going to look back and am I going to ask myself, oh, I wish I had ate less? Is that the questions you're going to ask as you reach the end of your life?
Yeah.
No, probably not. What are the things that you would say to yourself? What do you wish you would have done? And taking care of ourselves and really enjoying our life and not worrying so much what the scale says. Really, that number will not be important to you. I guarantee it, down the road. And so it all starts with really just truly believing that you're worth it and that you're worth the time. And for some people, that might mean doing some gratitude journaling or some daily mantras to really, truly not just say it, but believe it. Because once you believe it and make that decision, those changes will start to happen and they will become a priority.
Yes, I'm nodding along and completely agreeing with you. I think that's a really great message. I think there's a huge, self-respect, right? It goes,
absolutely.
It goes a long way, and I think it does start there. So thank you, Jenna, for inspiring me. I think you too. I don't want to speak for you, but inspiring me, and I'm sure every single person who's listening or watching this. So thank you for your time. Thank you for breaking it down so well that I really understand what it's about now. And I think a lot of people would now realize that, that is for me, right?
Yes.
To be curious and ask questions and see if they're on the right track, not wait until they're ill and they desperately need help, right?
Absolutely.
Let's learn more along the way as we go and be open to putting ourselves out there to be coached and to be educated better. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
Yeah, well, listen, everyone, thank you for tuning in today, watching, listening, wherever you are. We truly appreciate the support. We know you got a lot from the episode, and if there was that one takeaway, maybe it was that last takeaway, maybe it was something else in the show, please share it with someone you love and care about. Get this message out there, because as you've already felt, you're probably feeling empowered just from listening, so empower someone else with the message. So you can share the episode on your social media, maybe forward the link on to somebody. And also remember, in the show notes, you're going to find all Jenna's contact details, so her website, how to get hold of her, social media channels. So go over there, check it out. You'll also find all of the Nock Academy links in there as well. So if you're interested in checking out what we do at the Nock Academy, head over. You'll see right at the very top, you can grab yourself a 7-day trial, come check it out. And also join our Facebook page for the podcast, because we love to hear from you. We love to hear what you want to hear about, who you want to hear on the show. We're running an awesome fitness fad feature right now. So if you have a fitness fad you want us to tear apart on the show for fun, add it in the Facebook group, because we have awesome fun doing it. Like I said, we appreciate you listening. Please reach out, stay connected. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you on the next episode.